What's up, guys? It's Kyle McGuire. It is June the 27th, and I'm out here at the shop just filling up some tanks. I already did some commercial jobs this morning. Came home, took a nap. I'm feeling well rested. Gonna go out here. Gonna have fun tonight. Got about 4 or 5 hours worth of work, a little bit of everything at this commercial property. It's a restaurant. I'm gonna be doing a lot of concrete work, parking blocks, stucco, brick, you name it, we're doing it. Gutter brightening, gutter clean out. So I'll be out there for a while. So I'm just getting my things together. I had a pump go out this morning, so I just wired up a new 12 volt. It's not the prettiest wiring, but I did it in about 2 minutes. So I'll make that look prettier tomorrow. Even though I'll probably be X-jetting tonight, in all honesty. I do a lot of my pre-treating concrete. If I got a lot of concrete, I prefer to pre-treat with X-jet. But yeah, I grabbed a couple of items because I don't know how much y'all wash at night or if you ever have. I'm doing a little bit more commercial nowadays. I'm still very heavy residential, but I'm getting more and more commercial jobs, and I prefer to do them at night. So I've kind of picked up through trial and error and experience things that make my life easier. So we'll talk about 1 or 2 items that I say you need to have to make your life easier. And then we'll go out here. I'll take some time-lapse stuff. I won't do a time-lapse of everything I'm doing, but I'll try to do a little bit of everything. That way I could make some content, but I could still be efficient while I'm out there. So 2 things you need. 1 is Clear Eye Pro. During the day you wear shades, right? But at night you need to have some Clear Eye Pro, especially if you're doing a lot of flat work, you know, or curbs and parking blocks. You got a turbo nozzle out there. A lot of that stuff could shoot back, get in your eye or something. You don't want that to happen. Protect yourself, get some PPE. This is like mirrored glasses, but they will still work. Second is, I already did my pre-job inspection, right? I went out there, I checked for damages, I covered my ass, I sent an email to the owner, everything that I found. But I will also always go out there and locate the water source, right? So a lot of times in commercial, it's not a knob. You're gonna have to have a 4-banger, a water key, right? This is also called a Silcock key, but it's got 4 different sizes on it, and you have to find which one it is, turn it counterclockwise, and then you'll have your water flow, right? So invest in one of those. Go on Amazon and type in Silcock, 2 L's, and you'll find it. The third one, which I need to make a note on my board before I roll out. I got a whiteboard that I put things on. I always check my whiteboard before I roll out of here. But I need to go get, out of one of my hiking bags, I have a couple headlamps. So I've noticed through experience that a lot of times when you're washing at night, the front of the store or front of the restaurant's very well lit because you have outdoor eating areas, you have walkways into the restaurant for the general populace, but the back of the building isn't lit up. And if you're going out there, you're doing curbs or dumpster pads or different things, you ain't gonna be able to see because you got your hands full. So you wanna be safe by still being able to see. So I've noticed that the headlamps work really good. So I'll go grab one of them out of one of my hiking bags. And that's 3 things I think you need to have. Besides the most important thing, if you're out there washing, especially by yourself, is you need to be packing. So I'm gonna go grab my concealed carry before I roll out. Don't go anywhere without it. And if anyone's gonna run up, they gonna get done up. All right, fellas, we out here. We're on the job site, got the water hooked up, and right now I'm just using that high pressure ball valve, and I'm blowing away any debris, any pebbles or leaves. That way I have a clean surface. I can start pre-treating with my my X-Jet X5. I really enjoy using this X-Jet because, especially if I have a lot of concrete, it just puts so much chemical out so quickly that it makes you real efficient. I'm not going to be there all night. You know, it's a little bit quicker than using a 12 volt for pre-treating a lot of concrete. Look at all that soap, son. I'm going to let that soap sit there. That way I can get to work on cleaning this building. Right now I'm just spraying up top where the sign's going to be. They took the sign down, but getting that little stucco piece clean up there takes a pretty hot mix, but we're going to get it brightened up for them. I'm going to move around to the side of the building over here, and I'm going to use my X-Jet. I'm going to turn the chemical off, and I'm going to just really start soaking down all these plants. There's a lot of nice, expensive landscaping around this building, so I want to ensure that all the plants are saturated with water. That way they can't soak up any of that salt. And don't just do it beforehand, fellas. Keep them plants wet when you're washing, and whenever you're done washing, make sure you come back and mist them things again. You want to keep them wet the whole time. Last thing you want is a callback. Now that I've done that, I'm sitting here, I'm soaping up the building, guys. And I'm using the X-Jet tonight. I mean, even though I just wired up a new pump on the 12 volt, I enjoy X-Jetting sometimes. So coming back and rinsing, fellas, and this is key. Rinse from the top down. You're supposed to apply your chem from the bottom up, but sometimes if I'm X-Jetting, I don't do that. The X-Jet puts off so much soap that it's really easy to see any spots that you've missed. So rinse good, especially on commercial, fellas. You see how big these big glass windows are? Rinse, rinse, rinse. You don't want to get a call back because you failed to get all those SH streaks out of there. So make sure you're putting a lot of water down. So yeah, just having a good night out here, fellas. I enjoyed myself. Had a little cooler. I always come out with the cooler with you know, my drinks and snacks, and I got music, and it's just peaceful out here. The sun ain't beating down on you. So I really enjoyed this job. I was probably out here about 5.5 hours with all the concrete work, the gutters, the soft wash of the building. It was a good job. It was a good payday. You know, I enjoyed it. All right, fellas, now that we washed the building, before we get out of here, let's do all this concrete. The pre-treatment has really already kicked in and made it a lot easier to move the surface cleaner a little bit quicker. Not too quick, but you could already see right here how big of a difference it is. It's night and day. I think the owner is going to be super happy, especially after I do a post-treatment to get rid of any deviations with the lines. It's going to also make that concrete a little bit brighter, but it's looking great out here. You can't hardly see it, but I did this big entryway into the restaurant too, as well as that long sidewalk. Got that all cleaned up. And lastly, this is a big pet peeve of mine, y'all. It's these parking blocks. A lot of people overlook this. You know, this wasn't in my estimate, but I'm just throwing them in there as an extra. You know, it just doesn't look good if you do all the concrete and you leave a bunch of dirty black parking blocks there. So you just finish it off. I use a turbo nozzle. It's a great piece of equipment to use. If you don't already have one, definitely pick one up. Makes quick work of curbs and parking blocks. But basically, fellas, that's a wrap. I'm finishing up with these parking blocks. I got one more piece of curb to do, and I'm going to blow out the parking lot. I'm going to get all that sediment and sand out of the parking lot because it's not a good look, y'all, if y'all just leave that on the blacktop. Find a drain and push all of that stuff to the drain. That way everything looks clean. But I'm going to get out of here. Just want to say thank y'all. As always, I appreciate everything. Hit that like button for me. Gets me a little bit more exposure. And definitely subscribe if you're new to the channel. I'll get with you. Peace.